Training Well Burros. We are talking today about horses versus donkeys and their basic care. So let us know if you can hear us and where you're watching from. We're glad that you guys are all joining in with us, and we will go ahead and get started. Now, I'm asked the question, do donkeys need their feet trimmed as often as a horse, or do they need to have their teeth floated? Or what is teeth floating? What about bedding? Is that different? So that's the kind of stuff that we're going to talk about. And we're just going to try to break it down to be simple. Today I have a script just to help me remember because there are some specific things. So let's start with hoof care. Let's start with that. Now, with the feet, yeah, they still need to be trimmed just like a horse, 6 to 8 weeks. Donkey's feet are a little bit different than a horse's. So a horse is a little bit more like a pancake. They're just big, but a donkey's are more upright. So there is a different angle that they need to be trimmed at. I think it's like 50 to 60 degree angle, and then it's a little bit different for the back than the front.
I don't remember the numbers, but yeah, most farriers have that a little chart or book they can refer to. That yeah, the angle is definitely different.
And the reason they need that to be a little bit different is just because of how their hoof structure is and their muscle structure. Think of a horse more as like a bodybuilder, and then a donkey more as a ballerina with their muscle structure.
Yeah, yep.
So the donkey's feet are always going to be more upright than a horse's. And so the angle is the biggest difference with their feet. And it's 50 to 55 degrees for the front feet and 55 to 60 for the back feet is what I have in my notes.
Okay.
So donkeys evolved to be able to move around. Remember, they're desert animals. So they evolved to be able to manage the terrain in the desert, the hard ground, all of that. So it reduces their leverage, it prevents cracks, and it supports their heavier, denser hoof wall. That's one thing I think a lot of people don't know is donkey bone structure. It's like way thicker than a horse.
Yes, yes. There's a lot more bones per pound in a donkey than there is in other equines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even their skull and that. So that's one thing that's different. But hoof care in general, every 6 to 8 weeks. Now, we've never used like a special farrier for a donkey.
No, it's just a regular farrier.
Now, we can research and let our farrier know different things that we learn, but often they're kind of following the angle of the shoulder. And I can't say I understand that stuff, guys. That's why we have a farrier to teach us that stuff, or to do that stuff for us. But
Yes, yes. I'll add in here. This isn't really on healthcare, but just a reminder: it's not your farrier's job to teach your donkey to pick up its feet.
no, not
So
at all.
you'll be doing everyone a favor to have your donkey picking up its feet before you get your first trim, if you want to see that farrier again.
Yes, because donkeys get a bad rap, don't they?
They do. There are farriers out there that just well say I don't do donkeys, because there are unfortunately folks who are of the mindset that it's the farrier's job to teach them to pick up their feet, and that is the furthest from the truth.
Now, we've been getting some pretty neat compliments, guys. You guys know that we've been, we train, we gentle train, and then find homes for donkeys, right? And somebody that bought Daphne, they've been hearing from their farrier that their farrier is trimming some donkeys that we trained, and they're like super good.
Yeah. Yep. They can be good. They can be great for the farrier, just like a horse.
Now, in order to get them great for the farrier, we need to go slow. We have to go at their speed. But once they're taught that, then the goal is that it's lasting. When we go so slow to build up that trust and confidence with them, remember, it's like evolving with that. And so when we build it up, it's going to be lasting. But just because you can get them to pick up their feet doesn't mean it's going to go on the farrier stand yet, because they might still be too nervous. So you grow into all those steps. The next one is their teeth care, or veterinary and teeth. So vaccines, it's the same. It's the same as the horse.
Same schedule, same vaccines.
Yep. Now, with that being said, I'm not going to give you any recommendations of what vaccines you should do. What I do when my vet is out, I just say, what do you recommend for our area? Because different areas, or if you're traveling somewhere different, you might need to do different vaccines. So trust your
Right.
vet.
Yep.
And their teeth, they need to be, so their vaccines, deworming, and then like annual exams in their teeth. All of that is the same. There are some things that are a little bit different for donkeys. One is they metabolize medicine or some medicines differently than a horse. Some of them they metabolize faster, some may be slower, or they have to be very, very specific. We had our vet out because Seamus had some stuff going on, and she thought she was going to have to do some research on dosing for him because donkeys are very specific about the amount of
Yeah.
how they do their medicine. Now, again, we're not vets, so we trust our vet. You know, have conversations with them, train our animals so our animals behave when the vet or the farrier is out. Another thing that's different with a horse versus a donkey is their jugular. We have noticed this. There's always a joke when our vets are out. Your donkey has no blood, because they try to get in there to do the sedation to do their teeth, and they can never find blood. So I was researching this a little bit today, and kind of what it turns out, sometimes you need a longer needle because their muscle is thicker in that area, at least in that area, than a horse's is. And so it's like kind of farther back and thicker. So, and it, with a horse, you know how the doctor or the vet, they'll push on it to help that vein pop out. It doesn't happen very well on a donkey because it's so deep in their neck.
Right. Yep.
I wonder how much that has to do with how rough a donkey plays with another donkey.
Well, they do yank each other around by the neck quite a bit when they're playing. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you see your vet, like normally just they rock it with doing a sedation shot for your horse, but they're struggling with your donkey, that's completely normal.
Yeah. Don't be embarrassed. Reassure your vet. This is normal.
All right. So Fred's mom says, I play the pinch and poke game where I use positive reinforcement to desensitize, and then to what the vet will do when giving a shot, tapping, pitching the neck, and poking gently with a toothpick. We do the same thing, and
Yes,
it
very
works
good.
great.
Yep.
Our vet has been super pleased with how well these wild animals do at taking shots or sedation. Even Stein, who was so reactive, and Fred's mom got to meet Stein at that clinic. But yeah, it helps. So what she's talking about is when you are getting your donkey ready for shots, as you walk up, you stand where the vet will stand, and they need to get used to you and other people. So you're going to want to do this yourself, and then you're going to want strangers to do it as well. So you just maybe pinch them a little bit and then pay them. So I use the word deet, so a pinch, give them their pay reward, and then I increase that with like a pen or maybe a little screw and poke them with it. I've used a hoof pick. What other things have I used?
A screw.
Yeah, screw.
Yep. A screw. Nails. Just something a little bit pokey. I mean, we're not going to jab it into them.
Yeah, they're not bleeding or anything.
Yeah,
when
just
we
to
do
get
this.
them to feel that focused pressure in one spot. And again, this isn't something you introduce to your donkey while the vet's on their way to your house. Get this taken care of several weeks in advance and do it regularly, so that when your vet comes for the shot, there's no event, there's no excitement. It just goes easy and smooth.
Another thing that I've used for that is I just like find a little twig on the ground, and I have done this with mules that they did well with the shot training when I was doing it, and then just like out of the blue, I grabbed a little twig that was on the ground and I poked him with it, and the mule's like, oh my gosh, right? So the more we can do it in
Yeah.
different situations, the more we're going to build up their confidence that they're going to be okay. And
Yep.
it's worth it, because once they get bad at this, oh my gosh, it can be hard to get over.
Yeah, a needle shy animal. Yeah, that can get exciting and frustrating. Yep.
And
But
this-
it's avoidable.
This training, like shot training, they like it. They're like, you can pinch me a little bit, it's okay, as long as you
Yeah, I
give
mean,
me
they
pay."
bite each other in the neck and they call it recreation. So a little human pinching or a little poking with a toothpick,
Right.
that's not serious discomfort, but they are aware of it.
And sometimes people would use like a twitch where they put it on their lip or their ear or stuff. We don't do that, guys. I would do this shot training, and I would do it often enough and with strangers or different environments. I have heard, and I don't remember where I heard this, but your animal needs to learn something in 3 spots before they know it. So like at home, out on the trail, and then, pick one more spot, right? So they need to be able to be okay with something even though it's not in their familiar environment.
So it could be in your training pen, and then in a driveway, and then in a backyard,
It could be.
or does it
yeah.
have to be a different zip code?
I don't know, but I guess if your animal is still a little bit nervous about it when you're on your property somewhere, then try to introduce some of those things when you leave your property.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah,
Because the more we can build up like manageable amounts of stress, the more they're going to have better coping skills. And that's really, we're doing them a disservice if we're not helping them with coping skills.
Yep.
Eventually they can do anything, even a pancake race. Okay, a pancake race. It's at mule days, guys. You have to make a fire and cook a pancake and run with your donkey or your mule as fast as you can without it getting away from you. It's
the
fun.
pancake or the donkey?
Both. You
Okay.
have to have both with you.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And you put a pack saddle on. The fire was the hard part, wasn't it? It was a fun race. All right, so sedation, we talked about that. Oh, and then sedation, donkeys often need a higher dose of sedation than a horse of the same size. So
Right.
like when they were working on Honk the Donk because she got sick, I reminded our vet that, because they gave her sedation, I think she had an IV at that point, and she was still kind of resisting, right? She didn't feel good, she was colicking, like she almost died, guys. And then I reminded the vet that sometimes a donkey needs more sedation, and I think they were trying to get the tube up her nose. And she's like, this doesn't feel good. So then I reminded the vet gave her more sedation, and then we were able to get it done. But
Yep.
maybe your vet doesn't think about that because they don't treat as many donkeys.
Right,
I'll bet you they do 100 horses for every one donkey.
at least. I think there's only 44,000 domestic donkeys in North America.
That's not very many.
Yeah, those are donkeys only, not counting wild ones. And someone can check, but I think horse ownership is like it's a million plus. So it's a huge, yeah,
big
it's like
difference.
100 to 1. Yeah,
So if your vet's not familiar, don't like write your vet off, but help do some research and help your vet, like if they need more sedation, kind of a thing.
right.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Oh, yeah. Teeth. Okay. If you guys are new to donkeys, floating teeth, they actually take like a file, like a woodworking file,
Yeah,
and they put this contraption in their mouth so it's open with metal so they can't get bit. And then they file the teeth with the handheld one, or even better, a power tool, like a power drill with a little disc with a metal sander on it, and they actually sand down the teeth. So if you don't know about horse or donkey's teeth, they grow until they fall out. Eventually, they fall out. And when that happens, they get sharp points or maybe unevenness, so they don't grind to be able to chew up their food. Or if they get the sharp points, they can get cuts on their gums, and that's bad. Wild donkey squirrel had like sharp points, and he actually like held pockets of food in his mouth because of it. So that's one that we have our vet check each year for our animals to see how their teeth are.
and staying on top of tooth care with your equines will add years of quality of life to their life on average. Because when those teeth get funky shaped and get sharp points on them, they're not grinding their food as quickly or as easily or as thoroughly as they should. And chewing of food is the first part of the digestive system. So the more they can properly grind their food down, the more nutrition they get, the healthier they'll stay. Especially the old farts. They need all the nutrition they can get, and staying on top of their teeth is a good way to help them do that.
So if you notice like your animal is having trouble keeping weight on, teeth is often something you need to check on. And if you guys didn't know, there's actually a special vet that only does teeth, or really they specialize in teeth, let's say. We brought an old horse, Danny Boy, to a horse dentist, and they took a third of his teeth off. Now, he had his teeth floated annually, but he was having trouble keeping his weight on, so we brought him to that special horse dentist, and a third. Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
They literally reshaped his teeth down to like the shape of a much younger horse. And the horse that we had really hard time keeping weight on, we got like another 7 or 8 years out of him.
He lived to be 31.
Yeah, I mean, he was going elk hunting when he was 30. So
Yes.
it was worth every penny to get those extra. We're not talking about an extra 6 months. We got extra years out of old Danny boy, just with some good quality tooth care.
He's absolutely such a great horse. Now, for my motivation, now if you guys have questions that I haven't covered, make sure you put them in the comments. And the motivation is another Mark Rashid book, and it's Horses Never Lie. And I must have borrowed it out because I don't have it. I think I have every one of his books because I love this author so much. So.
And right before this live, she's like ripping the stuffing out of the couch cushions looking for this book, and it's missing. It's AWOL.
Nah, I think I borrowed it out. But Horses Never Lie, again, Mark Rashid, he tells his stories like you're sitting around a campfire. So reading his books is just absolutely awesome. And I have it in the description. I think there's like a tag on there. I'm learning some of this new stuff. And then, of course, the Training Wild Burros hats, guys, because it has an American flag on it and the wild donkey. They're awesome. I love them.
It's a cute hat.
All right. Tomorrow we're going to go back to 6:30 like normal. My book club got canceled today because of the storm. So next Thursday we'll do 5:30 again. But yeah.
Yep, we're about to get hit by a major winter storm. The meteorologists are hyperventilating, get grandma and grandpa and head for the cellar.
Stay warm.
But it's supposed to be a pretty big storm, so be curious what we got in the ground in the morning.
I also want to thank all of our members that are part of the membership crew. I really appreciate all of you guys out there. And so just thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of our group.
Thank you very much.
Well, if you guys don't have any questions, then we are going to hit the road and we will see you tomorrow.
Have a good night.
Thanks for watching.